Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are talking about the Black Panther sequel, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And in my opinion, it's not going to do nearly as good as the first movie from 2018. In fact, if you look over here from Variety, Black Panther Wakanda Forever tracking for massive $175 million opening. To put that into perspective, guys, I believe Black Panther opened to north of 200 million. Yes, 202 million to be precise. Let me pull up the exact number. Here we go. Yeah, $202,003,951 opening weekend back in 2018. But anyway, let's get into this. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is on pace to land one of the year's biggest opening weekends. Early tracking released by NRG has the superhero sequel debuting to 175 million, but many rival studio executives believe that figure could grow after reviews hit and word of mouth builds. Disney and Marvel still haven't released the bulk of their marketing materials, which could also goose ticket sales. If that figure is accurate, it will be the second biggest debut of 2022, just below the 187.4 million logged by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The original Black Panther opened at $202 million in 2018, ultimately grossing $700.4 million domestically and $1.3 billion globally. $1.3 billion, that's billion with a B. Advanced ticket sales are already strong, and the initial word among the select few who have seen rough cuts of the movie is that the sequel delivers the goods. Black Panther Wakanda Forever opens on November 11th. Chadwick Boseman, who played King T'Challa in the original Black Panther, died of colon cancer. The film will follow the leaders of Wakanda as they grapple with the aftermath of the death of their ruler and a new threat from an ancient civilization of underwater-dwelling people. Ryan Coogler returns as director, leading a cast that includes Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, blah, 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 blah. If Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a hit, that's good news for theater owners. There have been a few modest successes this fall, such as Halloween Ends and Smile, but the theatrical business is in desperate need of a massive blockbuster as it struggles to rebound from COVID. Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Avatar: The Way of Water are expected to turn things around and provide the exhibition business with the kind of commercial juggernauts it needs for holiday season. Now, why do I feel that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not going to deliver like the first movie did? I think it really comes down to three things. The first reason being is that the culture of 2018 is simply not here in 2022. And what I mean by that is, Black Panther had a 100% Rotten Tomatoes score on their tomato meter, however that worked. And a couple of critics came out and they criticized the movie. And this article from Complex, this critic messed up the perfect rating of Black Panther on Rotten Tomatoes. And boy, oh boy, this whipped people up into a fucking frenzy at the time. I believe I brought this up in my in one of my earlier videos. I believe it was the movie going isn't a charity, but let's revisit this point. Here we go, from Complex. Until Thursday, the Ryan Coogler directed film had a perfect 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes, earning nothing but positive reviews. Unfortunately, that perfect score was ruined on Thursday by a critic named N. Power from the Irish Independent, and the write-up Power says, quote, Black Panther spirals into a stodgy tale of internecine feuding. Power adds, quote, the strain of the film's expectations are visible, especially in the performance of Chadwick Boseman as Prince T'Challa, the eponymous Black Panther. In the context of the place the United States finds itself today and where it has come from, Boseman knows he can't wisecrack his way through the film in the fashion of, for example, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark, and the responsibility to be at all times sincere weighs on him. Shortly after Powers' review was published, he was joined by another buzzkill, Louise Keller from Urban Cinephile. Her review opens with the line, quote, the trouble with the highly anticipated Black Panther is that it doesn't know what it wants to be. Superhero extravaganza, activist action flick, James Bond wannabe, or Coming to America. Basically, to put it in English, the action is kind of lackluster. The jokes aren't really there for an average Marvel movie, but oh no, Black Panther's 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes fell to just a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I argue the culture that this article whipped up into an absolute frenzy at the time is simply just not present here in 2022. I argue nobody really cares about Rotten Tomato scores, not like they used to. The second reason why I think that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not going to do as well as the original is simply because of the death of Chadwick Boseman. Let's be honest. How many people feel that Black Panther was carried by Chadwick Boseman? And more recently, this article literally came out a few hours before I recorded this, and that is Ryan Coogler reveals Black Panther 2 plot before Chadwick Boseman's death. And let's just read the meat and potatoes. I'm not going to read this article word for word. Quote, the script we wrote before Chadwick passed was very much rooted into T'Challa's perspective, the director said to the Hollywood Reporter. It was a massive movie, but also simultaneously a character study that delved deeply into the psyche and situation. Nate Moore, who was the VP of Production Development, went on to say, quote, the Black Panther has existed in Wakanda for centuries, so the notion of someone else picking up the mantle didn't seem inorganic. So let's translate this into English. It was a massive movie, but also simultaneously a character study that delved deeply into his psyche and situation. Basically, Black Panther Wakanda Forever originally was going to be the Spider-Man 2 of the MCU. That's what the character study that delved deeply into his psyche and situation. Very similar thing happened with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. But they're also saying that because because the Black Panther has existed for centuries in this fictional world, somebody else picking up the mantle doesn't feel inorganic. Hence why they put in that what do they call it? A crowning ceremony in the very first movie. Give them an in-universe explanation if they ever needed to recast the Black Panther. And the third and final point why I think that Black Panther isn't going to really deliver like the original one did is quite simply because of the MCU's box office itself. If we're gonna be looking at this from Black Widow onward, I'm not gonna focus on any non-MCU movies, sorry, got something caught in my throat. Or anything prior to Spider-Man Far From Home. So if we're just going to be looking at Black Widow had an opening weekend of $80,366,312. Now, to be fair, that was a day and date release. That was, also on like Disney Plus Premier Access. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which did open exclusively at the box office, which didn't open exclusively in theaters, only grossed $75,388,688 at opening weekend. Eternals, $71,297,219 opening weekend. Spider-Man No Way Home is clearly the exception to the rule here, with $260,138,569 opening weekend. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness opened $187,420,998 opening weekend. And finally, Thor Love and Thunder opened $144,165,107 opening weekend. Not the biggest opening weekends by Marvel standards, but here's the point that I want to focus on. And that point is all of these second weekend drop-offs. Going back to Black Widow, if we look at the drop-off between opening weekend and the second weekend, we see a drop-off of 68%. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has the lowest amount of drop-off between week 1 and 2 at 54%. Eternals has a 62% drop-off between opening weekend and second weekend. Even Spider-Man No Way Home had a massive second weekend drop with a 67%. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 67% drop between weeks 1 and 2. Thor Love and Thunder, 68% drop off between weekends 1 and 2. Now, what's the importance of the second weekend? Here we go. I am pulling this directly from Wikipedia, so take it for what you will. Assuming that the number of theaters stays the same, a normal drop in box office gross from the first weekend to second would be 40%. A drop greater than 60% indicates a weak future performance. So if we look at it here, you know, actually let me pull these up. Okay, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Endgame. Okay, so here we go. Let's actually take a look at the second weekend drop-off for some of these movies here. Let's start with Black Panther. The second weekend drop that the original Black Panther had in 2018 was only a 45% drop between weeks 1 and 2. Avengers Infinity War. Whoops, I'm on the wrong tab. Avengers Infinity War. Now that one did have a 55% drop off. Ant-Man and the Wasp had a 62% drop off. Captain Marvel 2019 had a 56% drop off. Avengers and even Avengers Endgame went on to gross a shit ton of money. Had a 59% drop off between weeks 1 and 2. So this major drop off is nothing new for the MCU, but it also indicates that the MCU is not what it used to be. Certainly not nowadays. You know, catering to your most absolute hardcore fans is not going to keep your series going. So what do I think is going to happen with Black Panther Wakanda Forever? I'm not denying that it's probably going to have a big opening weekend. I'm going to put it right in the area of 150 to 175 million just to be a little more realistic. However, with that second week drop off, I'm assuming I'm not assuming, I'm predicting that the second weekend drop off for Black Panther Wakanda Forever is going to be anywhere from 55 to 70% if the numbers hold up. And I'm basing that prediction solely off of the second weekend drop-off of all MCU movies from Black Widow up to the more recent Thor Love and Thunder. Like I said, Black Widow was 68% drop-off. Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings was 54% drop-off. Eternals was 62% drop-off. Spider-Man No Way Home was a 67% drop. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was 67% drop. And Thor Love and Thunder was 68% drop. But I do want to know what you guys think about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Was this a movie that you were going to see despite the fact that, you know, that Chadwick Boseman has passed away? Or do you agree with my sentiments that, you know, that what made Black Panther a hit in 2018 is simply just not present today? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm going to end this video before I drag this out way longer than it needs to be. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I will just see you guys next time.